Alright, welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we got a new batch of information regarding Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield in the form of a surprise trailer. I think they were trying to beat Korokora to the punch, and they decided to drop a random trailer on us, so we're going to talk about that, my thoughts and feelings on everything shown. We actually got a lot of information from this trailer, considering it's a pretty short trailer. It's only like 2 minutes long, but we got to look at a couple new people, some new Pokemon, as well as a gimmick and some other stuff. So I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts. Yes, I decided to actually get these games. I know these games have a lot of shortcomings, but I'm gonna at least try to enjoy these games for what they are. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. And also, I apologize, I do have to talk a little bit low in this video because I'm recording it really late and people are asleep, so I don't want to wake them up. So the first thing we should probably talk about in this video, and probably the most exciting thing we'll talk about in this video, are the new Pokemon. So this first Pokemon I'm going to talk about is called Alcremie, and sorry if I butchered that name. Obviously these mons are new, so it's going to take them a little bit to get used to the pronunciations. But Alcremie is a Pokemon that it's literally it's literally a pile of whipped cream, apparently. So in Gen 6 we got Slurpuff, which is literally a cupcake. Now we have a whipped cream Pokemon. I don't know how I feel about that, but you know, Game Freak, you do you. Apparently it is an idol to all pastry chefs. Alcremie can produce a whipped cream that becomes richer the happier Alcremie is feeling. Desserts made using this cream are invariably delicious. Many pastry chefs strive to have an Alcremie as their partner, so maybe in game there's going to be some bakeries or something, and maybe they'll be chilling with an Alcremie. So it was also shown that Alcremie has a Gigantamax form, I think they're called, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the video, but it is shown that it has like some kind of signature attack, and I think it does damage, but it also heals your party members. So I think it's kind of like Eevee's Sparkly Swirl, where it kind of acts as like Heal Bell, I think, or something like that. But it's basically an offensive heal bell. Anyways, Alcremie itself is a fairy type Pokemon, and it has the ability Sweet Veil. And what Sweet Veil does is it prevents you and your ally Pokemon from being able to be put asleep. So your opponent can't use moves like Spore, Sleep Powder, Yawn, stuff like that. So it is actually kind of neat that it does have a somewhat viable ability to use, but I'm not sure how viable exactly this Pokemon's going to be. The next Pokemon we're going to talk about is the electric corgi Pokemon, Yamper. So this is a mon that was actually shown off in the demo for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield at E3. This mon is kind of interesting. Apparently it's drawn to moving things. Yamper has the tendency to be drawn to things that are moving quickly. It can chase people and Pokemon, or even go charging at vehicles. So it's very, I guess, very dog-like. I don't know. Yamper's ability Ball Fetch is a new ability introduced in these titles, and will come into play when you throw a Pokeball at wild Pokemon but fail to catch it. As long as Yamper isn't holding an item, it will go fetch the first Pokeball that failed to catch Pokemon, regardless of what type of ball it is. So I guess that's kind of useful in-game, but it's literally useless, like, competitively speaking. I hope it gets access to other abilities too. Apparently it crackles as it runs. Yamper has an organ in its body that generates electricity, and this organ is activated when Yamper runs around. Yamper cannot store the electricity it generates. It is seen often running around with electric sparks crackling around it. So that's kind of odd. It's odd that it mentions that it can't really control its powers, so that kind of tells me this thing probably evolves. And there's actually this image going around. There's like I guess kind of like a logo on the walls in some of the gyms, and it has like an electric dog, and it's like a silhouette of an electric dog running. So I'm willing to bet that this thing is probably going to evolve into that. I'll put a picture up on screen for you guys, but I'm like 90% sure that Yamper is going to evolve into this thing. The third mon I'm going to talk about in this video is Roly-Coly. It is literally a lump of coal. So they're really getting creative with these mons, apparently. But it is a rock type, and it has a new ability called Steam Engine. It also gets access to Heat Proof. So what Steam Engine does is if you're hit by a fire or water type attack, it raises your speed drastically, which that's a +3 boost if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not sure how useful that's going to be. I mean, I guess it's useful if you get hit by a fire type attack, I guess, but If you get hit by a water type attack, I mean, that's super effective. This thing's a rock type, so I don't know how that's going to work. But obviously its other ability, heat proof, which I guess is kind of okay, but at the same time, like, you already resist fire type, so I feel like steam engine's probably going to be the way that people go for this guy. But even then, like, I feel like Scald is the most common water type attack, and like that has a chance to burn, so I don't really know if you're still gonna leave this thing in on a water type attack. I feel like it would be a lot better if this thing was like immune, if the ability like made it immune to water type attacks, and it's basically like the water compaction thing all over again. Like, those abilities, these two abilities would be so much better if they gave a water type immunity, but they don't. So the Pokemon website says that it has no problem dashing through dark areas or rough terrain. Its red eye can illuminate dark areas, while it uses the lump of coal attached to its body like a wheel. It can move through coal mines and caves. It seems to be able to travel smoothly even over rough terrain. And until about 100 years ago, every household in Galar region had a roly-coly. The families would use the coal that dropped off its body to cook and heat their homes. Even in the modern day, roly-coly is still a very popular Pokemon to take for outdoor activities. That's kind of weird, not gonna lie. I mean, it's literally a lump of coal. What kind of outdoor activities could you possibly use this thing for? But whatever. So the last Pokemon that they showed off was actually my personal favorite, Duraludon. And again, sorry if I butchered that name. Obviously, we don't know the pronunciations yet. But this thing is a Steel Dragon type, and the only other Steel Dragon type we have is Dialga, so it's pretty cool that this is a non-legendary Steel Dragon type. Apparently it has a light but sturdy body of metal. This metal composing its body is incredibly durable but surprisingly light. It weighs only 88 pounds in total, and because of this, Duraludon can move quite quickly despite its appearance. Now, we obviously don't know what this means because, I mean, just look at Gen 7. Vikavolt. Its Pokedex entry literally states that it flies really quick, but it has like a base 40-something speed, so we don't know if this thing's actually going to be fast or not. But it also says it's weak to corrosion, however, and it's known to rust easily. Its arms can grind down boulders. Duraludon live in caves and mountainous areas. Their two arms have slightly different shapes from each other, and they use these arms to grind down rock surfaces for food. They share this habitat with Tyranitar, and these two Pokemon are often seen battling each other in the mountains of the Galar region. So obviously this thing and Tyranitar are rivals, or are meant to be rivals in the Galar region, and what's cool about them is they are actually based off Godzilla and Robo-Godzilla, the old movies, which is really, really cool. Tyranitar obviously being based off regular Godzilla, this thing being based off Robo-Godzilla. Duraludon also gets access to the abilities Light Metal and Heavy Metal, and I think this is really weird because I feel like Heavy Metal is going to be useless on this thing because it's so light. It's only 88 pounds, and if you double that, it's 176 pounds. And I feel like that's too light to really make use of anything like Heavy Slam or whatever. Now, in the trailer, it is shown to use special attacks. I think it's using like Flash Cannon or something, so maybe this thing's a special attacker anyway. But I feel like Heavy Metal, there's really no reason to use that as the ability. I feel like Light Metal is going to be used more, just to take less damage from like Low Kick or Grass Knot, etc. Other than if it gets like some other hidden ability that's more usable. I'm really kind of disappointed with the abilities that they went with for this mon. Also, fun fact about Duraludon, or whatever the hell this thing is called. I don't know if you guys remember, but a while back, the Japanese players, there was actually a contest to name a new Steel-type attack. And apparently that Steel-type attack is a move that Duraludon gets. And apparently, I've seen a lot of translations thrown around, but apparently some of the translations translate to Resist Until the Bitter End, or Light Beam. Cerebee's also got a couple different translations. Let's see, Exhaustive Beam or Do or Die. So definitely some cool translations. I kind of like the Resist Until the Bitter End one. I don't know, it sounds really edgy to me, but I think that's my favorite. I hope that's the English name for this attack. But apparently it's kind of like a Steel type Mind Blown. It does like 140 base damage, but then you also take 50% of your health in damage in recoil. So moving along, they showed off a new gimmick called Gigantamaxing, and it kind of seems like it piggybacks off Dynamaxing a little bit. So like Dynamaxing, in Gigantamaxing, the Pokemon becomes massive. And from what we can tell, Dynamaxing only increases the HP stat. Somebody posted about it on Twitter. They were playing the Sun and Moon demo, and it appeared to only increase the HP stat. However, they heavily imply that Gigantamaxing increases all your stats. It's unknown if this is the case and how much it increases the stats, but I would be willing to bet it's probably close to Mega Evolution. Also, like Dynamaxing, when you Gigantamax a Pokemon, it powers up your moves, but this time they're called G-Max moves. In the video, it shows a Dreadnought Gigantamaxing, and it uses G-Max Stone Surge, and it does damage, but it also sets up Stealth Rocks. Corviknight, however, uses G-Max Wind Rage, and this is essentially an offensive version of Defog. It actually gets rid of hazards. It also gets rid of Light Screen and Reflect. When Alcremie Dynamaxes, it looks like it becomes like a wedding cake or something, which is really weird. But its G-Max move is called G-Max Finale, and it, I guess, essentially is kind of like an offensive heal bell. It heals your party, but it also does damage. They also showed off a couple version exclusive Pokemon. So exclusive to Pokemon Sword, there is Dano and its evolution line, as well as Jangmo-O and its evolution line. For Pokemon Shield, however, we have Tyranitar and its evolution line, as well as Goodra and its evolution line. Also, as a special bonus for purchasing the Dual Pack Steelbook Edition, trainers will receive 2 codes, 1 per game, that will reward them with special items known as Dynamax Crystals. By using these Dynamax Crystals in the wild area, trainers will be able to face a special Dynamax Larvitar or Dynamax Jangmo-O, depending on which version. And these Pokemon are normally encountered way later in the game in special Max Raid battles, but Larvitar will not appear in Pokemon Sword, and Jangmo-O will not appear in Pokemon Shield during normal gameplay, but players will be able to catch them in either versions using the Dynamax Crystals. So I guess it's a fun little incentive to buy both games. Speaking of version exclusives, this time around there's actually going to be version exclusive gym leaders. In Pokemon Sword, you will fight off against the fighting type gym leader B, or in Pokemon Shield, you will face off against the ghost type gym leader Alistair. Again, just another incentive to get you to buy both games. We also got to meet 2 brand new characters, Chairman Rose and his secretary Olenia. Chairman Rose is the chairman of the Galar Pokemon League, as well as the president of a large company. He's also made the Galar Pokemon League world famous by implementing gym battles featuring the Dynamax phenomenon. He's also the one who first endorsed Leon for the gym challenge. Apparently he also has quite the eye for talent, it says. Olenia is Rose's secretary and is known for her calm and collected personality. She also serves as the vice president of Rose's company and is in fact largely in charge of the day-to-day running of the company. Honestly, am I the only one that's getting evil vibes from these guys? They have to be the evil team. I would say her more than him, but something seems off about them to me. I kind of feel like they, as well as Leon, are in cahoots together or something. So I guess in closing this video, I just want to, kind of do like a lightning round of different informations that have come out since the trailers. Nintendo of America tweeted out that certain towns will feature different gyms. So the way that they worded that kind of makes me think that there might be other gym leader version exclusives. And depending on which version you're playing, face off against and then it goes on to talk about the fighting type gym and the ghost type gym. But like I said, the way that they worded it, it kind of makes me wonder if we're going to have other version exclusive gym leaders. Speaking of the gym leaders that we do know, B is apparently a prodigy in Galar Karate, carrying on century-old traditions and techniques. She is an expert on fighting type Pokemon and remains stoic and precise in battle even when backed into a corner. While looking at Alistair, apparently he is young and talented. He's taken on the mantle of the ghost-type gym leader in the Galar region. He's extremely shy and fearful, hiding behind a mask, avoiding public appearances, and spends most of his time in ruins or cemeteries. Dynamaxing only occurs in specific areas in the Galar region, but there is also a special phenomenon known as Gigantamaxing. Only certain species of Pokemon can Gigantamax, and those that do will change appearance. Also, I think I read somewhere that to capture Gigantamax Pokemon, you have to find them in raids, and they're exceptionally rare. Apparently, trainers will also be able to customize the number that appears on your jersey. And before we close out this video, one final factoid for you guys. If you pause the trailer at just the right time, after Chairman Rose sends out a Pokemon, you will see that there is actually a hidden Pokemon in this trailer that we know nothing about. It looks like some kind of teapot or some kind of little elephant or something, and I'll put an image on screen for you guys, but it looks really weird. I'm honestly not sure who caught this, but I saw some people talking about it, so I figured I would throw it at the tail end of this video. And that is it, my friends. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys. I appreciate all the support that you guys constantly give me. It means the world to me. And I'm going to get out of here now and go to bed, but I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles.